My roommates, college roommates are coming next weekend, and I'm making them beef rouladen. My mother used to send this back to school with me all the time, and my roommates 40 years later are still talking about how great it is. So beef rouladen is like a thin, like very thin steak. It's often called like braciole. It's what Italians use, braciole. It's a thin steak. So you take it and you pound it thin and even. Then you put a layer of mustard, and then this is going to be equal parts pickles, but it has to be the German pickles, which are these German barrel pickles. It's like a totally different flavor than a regular kosher dill pickle. So anyway, equal parts German pickles, sautéed onions, and crispy bacon. So I've already done the bacon. This looks like equal parts to me. This is a kind of a labor-intensive dish, so usually when I make it, I make a lot of it because it takes a long time to do. Get this shaken up. The meat's a little discolored because they were like layered on top of each other. And this is, I typically use Dijon mustard, but I'm gonna do this golden spicy brown. I think it'll be good too. Okay, so thin layer of mustard on all of these. And then we're going to divide this up amongst all of them. Smell the combination of the sautéed onions and the bacon. So then I took these strings and I pre-cut them. You're going to use this to roll these up. And then you tie it together. This gets a little tricky, especially if you didn't cut the string long enough. Sometimes I will, oh God, you shove the stuff back in there. You don't want that to fall out. Sometimes I will take an extra string and go that way, which I think I'll do that after. And we're going to use a little bit of the bacon fat that we sauteed the bacon with to saute these. So we're just going to put these in here to sear on all sides. Because it's such a labor-intensive dish to make, I make a lot of them at one time, and they freeze really well. So you can just put them in portion size for however many people you want to serve, and take them out of the freezer and make pasta or mashed potatoes with them. We're going to make a German pasta called spaetzle to go with these. Not today. So you're just going to rotate them as they brown, and just to get each side. I need beef stock. I only have one container. I need two. So what I'm going to do is just kind of wing it and make my own using better than bouillon and water to just make stock. Okay, it calls for strong broth, so I'm adding a little extra, and then to use what's left in the jar, I added hot water into that. So now all the rouladen are browned. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter in each of the pans and let that saute to melt. We're going to make a roux, which is butter and flour mixed together. And we need about 2 tablespoons of flour to 2 tablespoons of flour. So, whoops, half and half. And let's do the same over here. So you're gonna cook it down for a few minutes to get rid of the, the flour taste. And you want it to brown also. Like Anne Burrell used to say, brown food tastes good. We're gonna deglaze it with a cup of red wine in each pot. But we're also gonna add in a smidge of tomato paste in each one because it kind of adds a depth of flavor. It's not totally brown, but it's going to be with the meat and the gravy and stuff, it'll get more brown. So we're going to add the red wine into it and let it deglaze. So it's going to get all like the brown bits of flavor from the bottom of the pan also. Now to this, we're going to add some of our beef stock, the one that we did with the better than bouillon, because it's a little stronger. I added more bouillon than it asks for. So now you're going to put the meat back in, and these are going to cook slowly in a 325 degree oven. Now this is key. That's got a lot of good flavor in there. You don't want to see how it's not completely covered. They're braising in the gravy. So we're going to put this in a 325 degree oven for, I would say, 2.5 hours. Okay, so by noon, it's 10 o'clock now, so at 12:30 I'll test it and see how done they are. So it's been from, including prep time up to this point, it's been about an hour and a half. So it is, labor intensive to do this, but they're delicious. And like I said, you can make them ahead of time, put them in the freezer. So you go through all that effort just that one time, and then to reheat it and stuff, it's nothing. I did not end up using the stock that I thought I was going to need more stock, but I didn't. But it calls for really strong beef stock, so that's why I went with the better than bouillon, because I can kind of control how much bouillon I put in, as opposed to this, it is what it is. Okay, so it's been 2.5 hours, and this is where we are. They're cooked through. When it's like, the fork goes in and out easily. So that's how you know they're done. So what we're gonna do now is take them out of the gravy, and we're gonna thicken the gravy up. I'm gonna redistribute those. But, so what I'm gonna do is, we don't need 2 of these, so we're gonna just do 1 Okay, so this is gonna come to a boil, and we're gonna thicken it up with Wondra. So you're making what's called a slurry, which is flour and water mixed together. And it's like that. Ooh, well, that you don't want that. Try not to get the clumps in there. I don't know why that's so clumpy. You know what? We're gonna get rid of the clumps by putting it through a sieve. Definitely does not need salt, but I think it needs pepper. Okay, so let's put that in. All right, you try it and see what you think.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay, good. All right. And that, my friends, is how you make rouladen. I hope Dina and Sarah are really excited. And that's it. Yo, yo!